Hello, 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 and welcome. Now, in today's interview, I'm going to be talking about how to turn your passions into profits with none other than the amazing Margaret Olat of margaretolat.com, where she is a writer, a creative coach, and also a great personal friend of mine. So, I'm truly, truly excited to introduce you guys to her today, all right? Now, let me just kind of rewind and step back a little bit because I'm just recognizing that there are some people who may be watching for the first time. And if that's you, I just want to do a very quick introduction, okay? So, my name is Nina Dafe, and I am the founder and the editor of the Far Above Rubies Collection.com, where I help Christian women to know their worth, their power, and their purpose so that they may speak up, step out, and shine as the amazing women of God that He created them to be. And if that's something that sounds like, it's right up your street, your cup of tea, that you resonate with it, then definitely consider subscribing. All right. And you also want to stay tuned because by the end of this episode, you are going to walk away with a great wealth of information. All right. So Margaret is, as I said, going to share we can actually turn our passions to profit in order to start a side hustle. She also shares how to balance, this passion project with having a 9 to 5, because we all know that the reality is that not everybody can afford to ditch the 9 to 5 straight away. Sometimes we're actually doing both at the same time. And so, how do we do that without experiencing burnout? Yeah, she's going to answer that question. And the other thing that she's going to be talking about as well is why it's not necessary to actually ditch your 9 to 5 in order to be a successful entrepreneur or creative. That's kind of like the ethos, or what's taught a lot in the, I guess, entrepreneurial or online space at the moment. And Margaret has quite strong views about that she's going to share, and she's going to bust that myth. However, if you are somebody who actually does see yourself ditching your 9 to 5 in the near future, then she's going to be talking about how to know when it's time to do that and how you can go about it. And a very big hint is actually it's nothing to do with money. It's not an income goal. I know, right? I was like, oh, when I found out as well. So hopefully you'll be doing that too. Oh. All right. But what I'm going to do now is a very quick introduction to Margaret, and then we're going to go straight into the interview so that you can get all of her pearls of wisdom, okay? So, Margaret Olat is a writer and creative coach who teaches high achievers and creatives how to thrive at the intersection of creativity, passion, and profit. She does this by helping them uncover genius ideas, identify what to sell, and also by designing their offers with them. Her clients have also gone from having conflicted ideas to launching their consulting services, products, launching a Kickstarter for a podcast, and getting featured in big media outlets. Her thoughts as a creative have been featured on Elephant Journal, TEDx Lincoln Square, the Thought Catalogue, Addicted to Success, Thrive Global, The Huffington Post, Career Contessa, UID Media, Inspired Coach magazine, and she has also been mentioned by the likes of Pro Blogger, Brit and Co, and Minnesota State University Moorhead. All right, and so without any further ado, we're going to go straight into the interview. All right, enjoy. Hey Margaret, how you doing?
Hi, Nina. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for being here. So, as you know, I've already introduced you to our lovely viewers, our lovely audience, but just in your own words, could you just let everybody know who you are and just all the greatness that you do?
Awesome. So, hi, everybody watching me. My name is Margaret Olat, and I'm a writer and a creative entrepreneur. And what I do is I help other creatives like you and small business
Mhm.
owners find their intersection between profit, creativity, and passion. And one of the ways that I do it is by helping them to uncover the genius ideas they have, identifying what to sell, and helping them actually design these offers. So
Mm.
on a normal day, I'm probably in my room writing, doing a lot of writing, talking to people and helping them figure out if they should start one
Yeah.
venture or another venture, or
Mhm.
if they should continue going the way that they've already started and the journey they've already begun. So that's how I spend my day. And when I'm not doing that, I am working as a nurse
Love it.
in a local hospital because I believe that your passion projects or whatever you do for a job, they can go along and you don't have to kill one for the
Mm.
other. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it. And how did you kind of, I guess, start on this journey, from obviously like being a nurse and then going into coaching and everything like that? And I guess, how has your faith kind of played into that journey so far as well?
Oh, perfect. This is a very good question because I hadn't really, this really made me think. And I think it's something that we don't do often as entrepreneurs. And
Mm,
we really need to do that
yes.
because it wasn't until last week that I discovered that I'd been writing since 2011.
Oh, wow.
I mean, as in writing online
Yeah.
since 2011 and sharing my work with other people and sharing what I do with others.
Mm,
And along those lines, I eventually got obsessed with personal development.
yeah.
From getting obsessed with personal development, getting into marketing and wanting to learn how to present this better, learning about copywriting, and I
Mm,
got sucked into so many things and I wanted to call myself different names and different titles. And I eventually strayed away from writing and calling myself a writer. There was a time I was very ashamed to be associated with anything that had to do with writing, and I thought that I had to prefix it with some funny title like
interesting.
um, uh, development, leadership writer. It just didn't feel good to be just a writer.
Okay.
And but with this came pressure, this really huge pressure and resistance to put myself out there and
Mm,
to offer people what I needed to offer them
sure.
because I've been living in somebody else's shadows.
Yeah.
And I got this interview for a podcast one time, and the lady said, "Oh, sure, let's come." So I talked about copywriting, and we ended on a good term, on a good note, but it never went on air. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy it didn't go on air."
Oh, wow. I thought you would have had the opposite reaction.
I was like, "I'm so happy because, oh my God, that's not what I want to be known."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was such a relief. Like, oh my God, no diarrhea, nothing. No, I'd been so nervous the entire week leading up to when she said it was gonna go on air, and it did
Wow.
not. And I was like, "Whew, what a
Did she
relief!"
give you a reason why, or just kind of just,
I,
did?
I guess it was my body and my mind, my spirit telling me that I was living and operating in somebody else's divine purpose, and it wasn't mine. It wasn't aligned with who I was.
Yes.
Because right now, I can tell somebody that I'm a writer and I'm a creative entrepreneur, and I can help you uncover what God has um, given you, what God has put inside of you if you haven't seen it. And yet, if it's been buried under a lot of should be, must haves, and what ifs, I can do that because I embraced my writing. And because of my writing, I can see what other people what the other people cannot see, and I
Mhm.
can tell them where those loopholes and detours are because
Sure.
I embraced my writing and
Mm,
I'm a writer.
mm,
But it took me a lot of obedience to get there.
yeah,
And it took me a lot of stillness to get there, to
sure.
be still and listen to the voice of God. And this is
Absolutely.
my faith coming into play after maybe 3 or 4 years of being online and writing
Mm,
and calling myself a coach, dad, a leadership, this, all those fancy internet marketing
yeah.
terms. This is after I have realized that every job, every single thing that I've done in the past was, could you overlook this writing? Could you tell me what's wrong with this? Could you write my bio for this? Hey, this is Margaret. She's my friend. She's a writer. And no one has ever called me all those things that I called myself in the past.
Sure.
So it took a lot of me being obedient to walk in the path that God has put me on, and to plant myself, to stay where He's planted me. Because how can I lead other people to places where I have not led myself to, or place where I've been disobedient to go?
Right.
So it's from this obedience that my creativity, my well of creativity comes from. And that's how I'm able to see it in other people and say, have you tried this? Well, have you thought of that? And that's how I'm able to hear, you know what, it's so easy, but how come I never thought of it in 6 years?
Yeah.
So that's how I'm able to get that. So long story short, listening to God and going back to His words, because He's my anchor, because this journey is not all fancy and smooth, and really willing to listen to His voice. That's how my faith has played into my journey.
I love what you said, because I think it really speaks to me about the importance of being authentic. I think it's very, especially in this day and age of filters and, people, putting their highlight reel on social media, and it's hard to sometimes tell what's real and what's not. And then
Absolutely.
in terms of that as well, it's also, I think, very easy to get swept up in that too. So yeah, I mean, the turning point then was obviously listening to the voice of God and, all of that sort of jazz. I think I've got kind of two questions off the back of that. And I guess the first was, were you still nursing around this time as well? Or?
Oh my God, this is really interesting. So I hadn't even thought about being a nurse at this time.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I was still, I think 2 years into my first degree, 3 years into my first degree. I can't remember well, but I know I got my first degree in 2013. And by that time I graduated with a bachelor's in health services administration, and I had another bachelor's in gerontology, and I had a minor in management.
Wow.
And I was just like, this writing, I am not going to do it.
Wow.
I am going to do everything else other than writing. So yeah, that's right. I remember graduating and there was nothing out there for me, nothing.
Wow.
I put myself out there. I went on interviews. I spoke to so many CEOs. Yeah. I took internships and did paid jobs and all that. I just didn't get what I was, meant to do. But then there was one thing that I knew I had a passion for: helping people. I love to help. It's innate. So that's how nursing is probably the next thing to do, because I love helping people when they're sick. I love nursing them to health. So my mother mentioned it to me and said, why don't you consider nursing? You don't have to spend too much time in school. I know you hate medicine, so I would have told you to be a doctor, but you would say no.
You're the trinity of courses: doctor, lawyer, and, well, I say
engineer,
accountant. It just depends on which kind of maths you can do,
Exactly. She said, I would have said medicine, but you would turn up your nose and say it's too long. So let's just go for nursing. See how she said it? Let's go.
Yeah, I know. I can see it's a smooth thing. You can't do that one,
Exactly. I was like, woman, you're not going to write the exams for me. It's like, what do you mean just? Yeah. So I just went for nursing. And that time there was this program in my city. They have this master's program for people who have previous bachelor's degrees. So it's only going to take you 24 to 26 months.
Okay.
But it's going to be an accelerated program. So I said, I'm just going to go for it. So I went to nursing school at that time. I was still working and I was still doing writing. And during that time, I started helping my mentor. I met my mentor online. He found me through one of my writings. Actually, I didn't even apply. That really spoke to him. And he wanted to speak with the person who wrote that. Wow. So we started this mentoring relationship. I was behind the scenes of his business. I really learned a lot about what it took to manage a 5-figure a month business.
Amazing.
So the copywriting of, the interviewing people, it was just a whole lot. It was a beautiful mess, but at the end of it, beautiful mess in the sense that I was not prepared.
Sure.
So I just found myself doing, hey, Margaret, can you do that? Okay, I'll try.
Wow.
Oh, I tried, it was good. So for me, it was a beautiful mess, but at the end of the day, the skills that I learned was a whole lot. But still then I still wasn't calling myself a writer. I was trying to skirt around that word, because to me it was everything that money wasn't. If I called myself a funny and flashy term, the money follows that. But if I called myself a writer, then people don't resonate with that and think that you can do anything, make money off of it. So but I graduated. I got my nursing degree, and I still continue to write. Even all through my nursing degree, the comment that I got was, I was a good writer. I'm a good writer. So I just continued to do this. Even at work in my nursing job, if something happens and I have to write a report about it, my manager says, oh, Margaret, that report was excellent. You're a good writer. So I said, okay, what gives? I'm just going to call myself a writer. So that's the journey of me being a nurse, and my discovery of, Margaret, you're going to be a writer, and me running away and coming back to being a writer. That's just how it went. So.
Yeah, I can identify with your story in a lot of ways. I have, as you can tell, a Nigerian background as well. I feel like all Nigerian parents are the same. It's like they go to school and like learn the same stuff, like how to parent. It's like, for me, it was a similar sort of thing. So, everyone kind of expected me to be a doctor. To be honest, I thought I was going to be a doctor as well. Because,
oh my.
And then I kind of went and I did some like placements and, that sort of thing. And I just remember being like, I always knew I wanted to work with kids. But I wanted, I guess, to have more of that relationship. And I just remember on this placement being like, the child was in the corner playing while the doctor talked to the parent. I was like, no, I don't, that's not me. And then I saw what I actually ended up going into, which is speech and language therapy. And she was, right there with the child. I could see the relationship. So that's kind of literally, what kind of my background is, and what I'm also doing kind of at the same time as I'm, doing all of this. And then also like with the whole writing thing, I ran away from calling myself a writer for a long time as well, but not for the same reason. Mine was more, I guess I didn't want the vulnerability, but also the responsibility. So I started off with writing poetry and that sort of thing. I used to read it out in church, and people were like, oh, you should publish. And my answer was, no, I write for me. That wasn't my intention. As you said, God will have his way, and look, not only am I writing, I'm like speaking to people and all of that sort of stuff as well. So no, I totally get it.
Yep.
But how did you, because one of the things as well that I think I really loved about you as well is you don't talk about this whole kind of ditching the 9 to 5. I think especially in the entrepreneurial world, and there's almost a stigma around still having a job. It's almost like you're supposed to ditch it as quickly as possible, and that's almost a lot of people's, I think, trump card and claim to fame and show of authority, to be honest with you. So to hear a voice saying, well, no, not everybody hates their job, so, and actually you can, in a way, have it all, is really, really refreshing. So can you talk a little bit more, I guess, about that? Like, where does that ethos come from? And, for the people as well out there who might be a little bit ashamed to say, hey, I'm a blogger or writer, but I also have a 9 to 5, what would you do to them?
Yes. I know that a lot of people are going to listen to this, and most people are going to be women or ladies, but the men are also welcome.
Yes.
And I say that because I want to share this quote that I just heard a few days ago, which really it's the summary of everything that I've always known to be true about my decision not to screw the 9 to 5.
Sure.
And the quote is from Marshawn Evans Daniels.
Oh, yes.
You know her?
I do. I know she's got a new book out and everything. And that, see, being on the spot, I can't remember the title now, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think yeah, I think it's called Believe Bigger or
That's
something.
it. Believe
Yeah,
bigger. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So she shared a quote. She said, "A woman's place is wherever God sends her."
Yes. I
And
love
I
that.
was just like, wow, this is
Yes.
everything. This line is everything I believe
Yes.
about not screwing the 9 to 5.
Yes.
Because I don't believe that if you are not being tortured or bullied or in some way made to feel like you hate, absolutely
Yeah.
cannot function in your job,
Mm.
it takes away from who you are as a person, and it deprives other people of your amazing self.
Yes.
If you don't have a job that puts you through that kind of hell,
Mm.
don't leave your job. If
Right.
Because I believe that God sends you to a place, you should honor that purpose and
Mm.
honor the call. Because
Mm.
even though you're not going to be there for the rest of your life, He's
Mm.
going to send you to other places and bigger
Mm.
places. The thinking behind I want to leave my job should never be because I have a side gig and I'm
Yes.
making a lot of money there, and that means I absolutely have to
Mm.
leave my 9 to 5.
Mm.
It's okay. There's no stigma. You should never feel ashamed that
Right.
you have something else, that you are serving in another
Right.
capacity, because
I
that's what
love
I
that.
think it is.
Yes. It's like
And
stewardship, right?
it's exactly,
Yeah.
absolutely. I don't mind having to answer to somebody and say, this is me, because Jesus even had to answer to God,
Yeah.
because it would tell you, it would say, don't thank me, thank our Father who's in heaven.
Mm.
And as far as I know, enjoy the freedom that comes with your online gig or your side gig. Enjoy the perks. Enjoy being able to travel, being able to pay for whatever you want. But if you have the opportunity to serve, to lend your service to somebody else, do it. And if you're getting paid to do that as well, do
Mm.
it,
Yeah.
embrace it. So
Mm.
that's just my thing about people screwing the 9 to 5. I just don't get it. I mean, if every doctor would say, I know how to play the violin, should I leave my job and start running on cruise ships and I'm playing musical numbers during dinners and getting paid? Who's gonna run the hospitals? Who's
Right.
gonna be on the playground?
You're so
Who's
right.
gonna be upholding law and order in the
Mm.
city? Uh, Everyone has something inside of them that they want to express that they
Mm.
can't do in the 9 to 5.
Mm.
We can work to uncover what that thing is so
Mm.
that you can express that outside of your 9 to 5 and
Mm.
still reach a lot of people.
Yes.
Now, when it gets to a point that you can't juggle both at the same time, you can now make the decision to say, I can't do this.
I love the wisdom in that. Yeah.
And there's no shame in that either.
Mm.
But
Mm.
it's not, there is no standard that says step 5, you now have an online business. You must quit your job.
Yeah.
Failure to do so means that you are, failure to do so means that you are a failure. There is no such thing. And
Right.
that's my take on it.
Absolutely. And I love it. It makes a lot of sense. Especially, I love what you just said as well about actually, it's not about, um, I guess, upholding these kind of societal standards and what people think entrepreneurs are supposed to be like. No, if you love your job, stay there. But if
Mhm,
actually it gets to a point where having your nine to five and then also juggling your passion project is actually conflicting,
mhm.
then you think about what it is that you need to do. That makes so much sense. I love that. And I know that recently you did a live actually about kind of the benefits of having both, especially like in today's economy. I was just having a moan yesterday with somebody about how, there's no such thing as I guess, a job for life anymore. And you can't necessarily just kind of leave your livelihood in someone else's hands. It's actually, in this day and age, very wise, to have multiple income streams. And if you can be paid for actually turning your passion into something profitable, then kind of why not? So I guess how would somebody do that if someone's kind of starting from scratch and they're in a position where, like you said, they don't necessarily want to quit the 9 to 5, but they know that they love doing whatever it is and they want to see whether they can make a profit from it. Or actually, they're just looking for a little extra change. Who knows? Like, how would they, I guess, go about that process?
I love that you, excuse me, I love that you asked me this question, because I was having a conversation with someone, was it on Sunday or Saturday? And one of the things that I love about my job is that it's not all online. I go to coffee shops to have these meetings with people,
Right.
and, I talk with people on the phone. So I had this privilege of talking to someone who said, all of a sudden I just got this, we just got this thing at work, notice at work that they don't want us to come anymore, that they're laying people off. And, I think now I want to get serious about my writing.
Yeah.
And I went, whew, good. I am happy that you said that, but I also hope that you're not going to forget about, getting another job, just to support you so that you can continue to pay attention to your passion project you're writing. So here's my advice to anyone who wants to start a side gig or a passion project or an online business. Okay. In no particular order, but I'm just going to give it a random number anyway. So number one, what is it that you find yourself turning to over and over again? It's very important. And for me, this is even more important, that what is it that the market is wanting to do all the time? That's fine. That comes later on, because a happy person, a happy entrepreneur delivers exceptional services. So if you are not happy doing what you're doing, it's going to show up in whatever it is that you're helping people solve. Right. Think about going to the doctor who's frowning and not paying attention to you. How would you feel him bringing the stethoscope close to you? Would you feel ecstatic, or would you feel like you want to cover up? You guarding yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Guarding myself.
Exactly. So what do you find yourself turning to over and over and over again? You need to be happy with whatever it is that you've decided. Because otherwise you're just going to go through what I did. I did so many things. But did I tell you about a time that I started an online magazine that I called myself a publisher?
No.
Oh, I had a couple of writers. We didn't even last 6 months. Anyway, that's by the way. I thought I could outsource the writing and be the manager. I sucked at it. Anyway, that's the point. Find yourself doing something you love. A lot of people are going to advise against this, but I absolutely would not. However, where the however comes in is, make sure it's a mixture of what you love and a movement, something that starts a movement with people. What is the desire that people have? What do people want? What do people want to be a part of? And it can be anything, honestly. Entrepreneurs want people who can take care of their social media for them, if that's your audience.
Yeah.
Children want people who can spark their imagination if you want to write children's books. And I know mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles, they're looking for that, if that's your thing. Entrepreneurs are looking for people who can teach them how to speak, if that's your thing. You find yourself being extroverted, you know how to talk, people say you commend you on your presentation skills. Combine that with something that would serve others, something that other people find themselves searching for, looking for. Make sure there is this intersection. Make sure you can marry both of these things together.
Right.
Now you have something that you can start thinking about. You can start saying, okay, I want to test this out. That's number one. And that might be number 2 or whatever, but let's
I guess number 1 was finding the intersection between the passion and the profit and what people want. And then
what
number
people
2,
want.
I guess, is the testing out.
Testing out.
Yeah.
I'm so totally bad at giving numbers. So, number 2 is make sure you test it out. Don't go all in. I once made a mistake. Now, I used to be a career coach. Another one of my things.
I think there's about 5 things.
I used to be a career coach. Now I still do career coaching, but I don't call it career coaching. I call it bringing out your creative ideas, helping you uncover what you're supposed to be doing.
I love it.
And identify what you're selling. What you're selling might be products and services. It could also be yourself. So that's one of the things I help people go through. But I used to be a career coach. I created a whole course. I had graphics and everything. I did webinars. Oh, I even got somebody to be an affiliate. Lord Jesus. Anyway, test your ideas. Seriously. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. It doesn't mean that you don't have the expertise, the competence to deliver. When people say test it out, it means you've got to make sure that this thing can stand. You've got to make sure that there is enough demand for it, because we can all be nice and fuzzy and warm and talk about creativity all day long. But at the end of the day, it's all about, is there demand for these things? Are people wanting to buy this thing? Or are people asking for this thing? Even if they're not asking you, if you go out online or out in places, do you get the sense that people are wanting breakthrough in a particular area and you can offer it? That's what I mean by test it, not just introducing something and realizing that people don't even want it. They're like, what is that? Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were a writer. Oh, okay. Never mind.
As you were saying that, sorry
yeah.
to cut you, it reminded me of what you were talking about, just kind of the wisdom basically in testing things out and making sure that it's going to stand. It reminded me about where Jesus basically said about nobody basically, first of all, no one starts plowing and then turns back. But then at the very same time that, you don't decide that you're going to kind of build a house or whatever it is and not actually plan for it. Everything requires a plan. And I think sometimes, especially within the Christian community, we have these ideas and, okay, they're God-given. And so we're just going to run and we're just going to do it. And by faith, it's going to come to pass. But
that one.
We have to be practical about these things. So yeah. I loved what you said, but I also wanted to tie in scripture for the people to realize that what you are saying is not only right and fitting, but it's biblical,
Absolutely. And here's the thing. You might try it out, you might test it out, and you discover it failed. It doesn't mean you are wrong. It just doesn't mean it's not the right product fit or it's not the right market fit. So it's got to be a fit with, your product has to fit with the market. If there's not a fit somewhere, it's not going to work. And it doesn't mean that you should beat yourself up for it, because as creative people, we tend to take rejection very personally.
Yes.
And
our babies.
Exactly. So one of the things I've learned to do is try to separate my self-worth from my results.
That's huge.
If a launch fails, it's not me. Right. I'm worthy. It's just the launch that failed. My creativity is not dead. Yes. It's not empty. My ideas are not dry. I can always come up with new ideas. I can always come up with new things. I have the ability to keep launching until I get it right.
Right.
There's nothing that has to do with my self-worth. My result has nothing to do with who I am as a person and who God has sent me to. So I'm going to keep getting it right, putting myself there. Even when I don't know what to do, once I sit down and I start doing and start creating, one by one, I'm gonna get clarity, because clarity comes from action. It doesn't come from,
Yes.
thinking
That's
about
true.
it.
Yeah.
We have to do to get
Mm.
clarity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I tell people. If it doesn't work, try. Ask the
Mm.
market, do you really want this or not? Why didn't this work?
Mm.
Take a pivot. You know, if you're a writer, if whatever you're doing, if it's because you didn't get a lot of people to know about it, even if you know that other people are making money selling the same thing you're selling, it's probably because you're not putting it in front of the right people. So
Mm.
we always have the opportunity to correct ourselves if
Mm-hmm.
we're able to, think back and reflect on what it is that went
Yeah.
wrong, instead of throwing in the towel. Just, oh, I give up. This
Yeah.
is totally awful. I'm not cut out for this. So, in
Absolutely.
short, that's just what I have for people who want to start a side hustle. And then obviously, keep up with your education,
Mm.
learn about how to talk to people,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that people want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about, always talk about the benefits. Don't
Mm-hmm.
talk about me, 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 me. Talk about how you can actually serve,
Mm-hmm.
because people will be endeared to that. They'll be drawn to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, if you start there, then you can
Mm.
build on it. You can build an audience and nurture the audience, and you can ask them what they really, really want, and then
Mm.
they will tell you.
Mm.
This will inform how you develop your product or your offer.
Yeah, I
Yes.
love that. So from what I got is find out what your passion is, but also whether or not there's actually a demand for it. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a fine line and a dance, I guess, between passion and profit. The next thing would be to test. Actually ask people, or just keep your ears to the ground about whether or not people are demanding this thing. Then actually plan, what your next
Oh,
steps are
yes.
going to be. Once you've got your plan, put it into action, actually launch, do what it is, and then kind of reflect and evaluate afterwards, and just kind of keep, I guess it's full circle, keep on testing, keep on doing what you need to do until you can actually get the results that you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what, as a bonus, and this just came to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna give you a couple of things that you can actually do as to launch as a side business that doesn't even involve creating like a huge online business empire.
Mm.
One is, it can be an event planner.
Yeah. I have someone who I know, but one of my close friends. She's not quite an event planner, but she loves decorating. Like for events and things like that. She
Exactly.
makes things. She's so creative, honestly. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. You can be an event planner. You can tell tell people that, if you've got this conference coming up, if this is going to be a headache for you, and you just want to focus on, trying to get ready for your presentation. This is just like a bare bones or bare skin
Yeah.
sales pitch that I'm talking about. You don't want to worry about how many invitations you're gonna send out. You don't want to worry about if there's gonna be 40 chairs in the
Mm,
hallway, or if people are gonna be able to sit in the hall that you rented. You don't want to worry about if there's gonna be enough parking for the event. You don't want to worry about if there's gonna be enough caterers and food. You
mm,
just want to worry about practicing your presentation and being present for that day. Just hands off. I'll do the
mm,
planning. I'll contact the contractors that you want to hire for the event. I'll take care of decorating the halls.
mhm,
I'll take care of, cleaning up after the event. I'll get volunteers so you don't have to worry about it.
mm.
So these are just some things that you can think about, for anyone who's interested in doing this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so service, it's one of the very, very best ways to get
Mm,
your first thing online, or
yeah.
even in person.
Mm,
Service is really, really good. So just
yes.
plan to offer your service. Think about something that you can do that other people really don't want to mess with.
Mm,
That's your first thing. If
yeah.
you have that, you have a business.
Amazing. I love that. So it's about giving first. I guess that's what you were talking about in terms of not thinking about me. Oh, I'm hungry and I want to make money, or
Yes.
whatever the case may be. It's about, like you said, how I can be of service to this
Yes.
or this person, and talking to them about that. Yeah,
Yes.
got it. And so, okay, you got this person now. they've started their side hustle, they're doing that, they're also doing their 9 to 5. How do they balance both? How do they do this without experiencing burnout?
Absolutely. So here's my trick. Again, in no particular order, but I'm going to give it a number anyway.
I love it.
Number one is self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Just acknowledge the fact that you can't do it all.
Yes.
You know, we're super people, superwoman, superman, whatever it is. But you see everybody being on time, releasing all those pretty graphics. You see Instagram with the nice structure and the overlays, and the feed just makes you happy once you scroll over it. At the same time, you see that there's activity going on Twitter. At the same time, you see that Facebook is bubbling. You see that the blog post has a new post. You see that they're going live all at the same. You're like, oh my Jesus, how do they do it all?
Yes.
Be kind to yourself. Have compassion. And acknowledge that you cannot do it all by yourself, without his help, without God, and without having something give way for another. I think that's what we fail to acknowledge. We fail to recognize. Something has to give. And I say this in a very positive way, not to make it feel like if I don't get this done, then I must be evil. Sure. Even though there's a million articles that talk about you must get everything on your to-do list done today. No. Be kind to yourself and know that something has to give. Know that you are amazing for serving at your 9 to 5, and also serving the people that you choose to serve on the side.
Yes.
Be compassionate. Don't beat yourself up, because it starts from there. Because once you start doing that, you plant the seeds into your head, and then the self-doubt and everything all creeps from that.
Right.
So that's the first thing. Be compassionate and know that something is going to have to give. If you're going to go to bed later because you're working on something, do it. If you're going to, block off the whole of Sunday to do your creation or whatever it is, do it.
Yes.
But acknowledge that something's going to have to give.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two is to embrace structure. Oh my God, I love this because I feel at this all the time. And that's why I love it. As creative people, we like to fly, fool with the ideas, like go with the wind, and this idea is so nice, and like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, yes, I got to do that. And all of a sudden, you have like 10 product ideas.
Oh my God, yes.
You have 10 product ideas, and you're like, I didn't finish right now, so I feel so bad. So I start like blaming myself. Embrace structure. Know that you can't do everything at once. And as a creative, I love freedom, and I think this is where the intention comes from. You love the freedom to create, which is fine. And I help people get through that as well. If you want to create something and you want to make sure it doesn't engulf your whole life, we can talk about it and how to pace yourself and all that. But embrace structure. Structure is your best friend. That's what I tell myself. Yeah. I have it written down in one note that I look at to myself. Structure is my best friend. I tell myself all the time because it's very, very true. The next thing that I will say to you is this. Learn how to switch off. Learn how to turn off. Whatever that feels like to you. I can't tell you how many times that I felt like I want to keep writing till 5 a.m, and I have to be at a meeting in the morning, at 7, or maybe I'm going to my night job because sometimes I work 8 hours, sometimes I work 12 hours, and I'm going to work at 11, and I'm still doing busy work until 9 o'clock instead of me to get some nap. And then I go to work and I still can't turn off. And I can't be present with the people I'm serving at work. I mean, I'm fortunate that I don't make mistakes, that I'm actually a good nurse. Thank Jesus. Because he gives me the strength to do that. But when I'm taking a cup of water, drinking coffee, I can't switch off. My mind is busy all the time. It's going to wear you down.
Yeah.
You're going to get
Mm.
so exhausted that you find yourself one day you can't open your laptop.
Mm.
So learn to switch off, learn to have self-care routines that you say, you know what, my social media graphics is looking horrible, but that's fine. I need to sleep.
Mm.
you
Mm.
know, a lot of everybody's posting on Twitter and they're being active on Twitter, but I just came back from my 9 to 5 and I need to play with my child,
Yes.
or I need to make dinner for my family.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's absolutely okay to have boundaries. I guess that's where I'm
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
going to
Yes.
have boundaries and say, I worked from a certain time to a certain time. I have to be present to serve other people.
Mm.
Now, it's okay for me to recognize that other people are going to be creating when I'm not doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
I need to respect my boundaries.
Mm.
So
Mm.
those are the three things that I have for you.
Yeah, I love that as well. I think just to piggyback off of what you said about boundaries as well, I think not even just in terms of I guess time frames. So right now it's about napping or making dinner or being at work. And I'm also even just thinking about like physical boundaries because sometimes when you have burnout and things like that, you can actually have um a toll on your health, whether it's that you suddenly have migraines or it's your heart or it's I think there is um more and more research obviously that shows that there is a correlation between our sense of peace and our inner well-being and everything else. And it's funny, I can't even remember what scripture it was. I'm gonna have to look it up when I put it in the show notes or something. But I was reading something over the weekend, and I think the scripture said something along the lines of the fact that God, um, He gives us peace, and that peace guards our hearts and our souls. And I thought that was really, really interesting because I was kind of like, so first of all, the God-given peace guards our hearts and our souls. It protects us and all of that sort of stuff. But how interesting that he cares enough to not just go, okay, here's some peace, you can deal with stress and everything like that. But I felt like he was looking at our wellness and like the holistic sense of everything else. I think when you talked about that grace, for ourselves, if God gives us grace and he forgives us and he does all of that, then actually how much more do we need to do that for ourselves as well? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel
It
like
just
we're
ties in
very,
perfectly.
yeah, because I feel like we're so good at, God, please forgive me, and, receiving that way, but we're not always then able to extend it to ourselves and actually say, okay, well, now I'm going to release myself, I
Yes.
feel sometimes like forgiveness in that sense is a two-step process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
exactly. I'm so happy you mentioned that, because that peace is gonna sustain you.
Yes.
Because I can't see you doing any creating
Right.
when a mind
Right.
is chaotic.
Yes. Or when you're in survival mode, you can't do it.
No,
Yeah.
a creative mind can't be in chaos all the time.
So true.
And,
Yeah.
and if you want to give your clients or your students good experiences, you
Mm.
need to be of a sound mind
Mm.
and to do that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to, just like you said, forgive yourself, give yourself that grace,
Mm.
and don't compare yourself. You're not an empire. I mean, you are an empire. I mean, you get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but don't operate like people who have like 7 virtual assistants.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
don't try to beat them at that game. Don't try
Mm.
to beat somebody else. It's even, I don't even know. It's a joke to think that you're going to start comparing your journey to somebody else's. So
Yes.
that's where the first signs of burnouts
Mm.
usually come from, because we're always trying to reach for something
Mm.
that it's really out of our capacity, beyond our capacity, that we can't do.
Mm.
And maybe because we're not liking what we're doing, but or maybe because we're dealing with too much at
Mm.
that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So compassion for yourself, peace,
Mm.
let it surround you. Wrap yourself in it.
Mm.
It's really awesome.
Yeah. And I think, to a certain degree, as believers in that sense, we have that extra added advantage because we don't need to do it by ourselves. So we
Oh,
don't
yes.
need to operate as if we are, we I know so many times in this journey, because that's the reason why I think what you were talking earlier about the passion, because if you're not doing something that you enjoy and you're trying to start up a side hustle or a passion project, you better enjoy it, because otherwise you will stop. You'll stop.
Yes.
So many
Yes.
times, as much as this is a labor of love, it is still a labor. It's still hard work. It's still, there's still hustle involved. And so to
Yes.
sustain it over this long period would have been, I know, very impossible for me if it wasn't anything, that I kind of particularly enjoyed. But then kind of
Absolutely.
at the very same time, knowing that, okay, it's not even just about my enjoyment, and it's not even just about my own strength. When I get to those points of weakness, or that I do feel burnt out, or whatever the case may be, yes, we can practice self-care, I guess, in the worldly sense of taking a nap, or the bath, the spa, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
But you know what? Prayer, having that cry, whatever the case, that spiritual side, I can't
Yes.
tell you how much sometimes of a boost that has been, like, especially with me on my journey as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even add anything to that.
I love it. Stamp of approval.
Yeah.
So earlier on, you mentioned that you had a mentor. I thought that was really, really interesting, because I think the other thing as well that people, I think, or where people can get stuck on building, I guess, a passion project or a side hustle is, like you said, trying to do things on their own. You mentioned, the really established people, they might have like a team of VAs and stuff, so they've got, teams and things like that. I think maybe another thing that people tend to neglect is actually the need for a mentor. So I guess in your case, how I guess, what was the benefit of a mentor, for you? And I guess, what would you say to other people who maybe are looking for a mentor and don't kind of know where to begin in that sense?
Whew, that's a very good question. First, let me start by telling you the benefit of a mentor. A mentor can open doors that you never knew existed
Mm-hmm.
by sharing their network with you.
Right, right.
And one of the things that I did to get my mentor was that I was already creating.
I love that.
I was already writing.
Mm.
And at that time, I did not even know that there was something called an online business.
Mm.
I didn't even learn about that until like maybe 2015,
Mm-hmm.
2014, 2015. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been writing since 2011.
Right.
And just start. See,
Mm.
the thing is this: just put yourself in the shoes of let's say you are mentoring someone,
Mm-hmm.
and the person wants to get graded on an essay, and they want to know where they're doing wrong, and you say, "Okay, bring it. Let me help you with." And the person comes and says, "I haven't written one," and you're like, "Okay, how am I supposed to show you how to be better in your essay if you haven't written anything?"
Mm-hmm.
It's awkward, right? So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things is start something, start doing something,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of mentors want to see that you're taking the first step to actually get into where you say you want to be.
Mm.
So start doing something. If now, it doesn't mean that you should have an online presence. It just, like, if you don't want to, although I recommend it because it's just easier that way.
Yeah.
It just means that you should be proactive. And sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes you have to pay to get access to a mentor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So don't take that off the table. If you see someone doing something that you would love to be a part of, get involved in the person's work.
Mm.
Follow the person's work. Tell them that you love what they're doing. Tell
Mm-hmm.
them how the free stuff that what they have readily available.
Mm.
Apply that into your own life if that's where you want to be. Let them know that what they're doing is really helping you, is good. We love feedback.
Mm.
I would love to open my inbox and read something about what my work has done for somebody else. In fact, I would want to get on a phone with you so we can talk more about it.
Right.
Because if you're contacting me, then that means somebody else is probably benefiting from it. That I need that. I
Mm.
mean, we don't live for the validation, but the validation is good for us. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
let them know it's good, and
Mm.
then get on their radar. Invest in yourself.
Mm.
Get them to mentor you. Get a coach. Get the courses.
Mm.
If you can't do that, if it's one of my friends online does this thing. This is how he attends conferences that would cost you 2,000. He attends them for free. Guess how he does it? Yes, he emails the person and says, I'm volunteering myself. I will help you man the door if you want.
That is so smart.
He
Sorry, I'm just like.
this is guess what? He attends these conferences for free, and then he networks during the conferences.
Of course.
Now he's networking with people who pay 2,000 to be there.
Because especially if you're at the door, it's like church ushering, right? You're welcoming people in. What's your name? How are you? Oh, yeah.
So now that's gonna be my next strategy.
Wow.
I am gonna look for
I am
conference.
personally taking a mental
Yes,
note of that.
yes, I am looking for conferences in my area. I am emailing and saying, you know what? Don't worry about paying me. I will drive my car. I will put gas in my car and come to your place. You want to wash dishes? Don't worry, I'm there. Because guess what? There are people
Wow.
at the conference that you can meet. And guess what? Your mentor is in a good mood that day. He says, hey, meet this guy. He's actually helping me out. Do you need somebody for your conference next year? Oh, he can help. Guess what?
Amazing.
You know what I mean? It's just a chain reaction. Doors, your mentors will open doors.
That's genius.
But it didn't come from me. I'm also still in it. So,
hey, but you paid it forward, okay?
yes, I paid it forward. Yep. So that's something that you can actually do. And that's how he's been able to get in touch with these big people that I only think of. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It's my turn to go. I have nothing to add. I love that. No, that was a huge, huge, huge draw. Definitely.
Yeah.
So just thinking about, going towards like ending and everything like that. As you know, I tend to end with some kind of game type questions. So the first one is, I kind of write about like the women of the Bible, that sort of thing. So I'm just wondering whether or not you have a favorite woman of the Bible, and if so, kind of why, and how does she tie into, I guess, your testimony?
I'm not sure how this ties into my testimony, but I do have a favorite woman in the Bible.
Okay.
Her name is Esther.
Yes.
And I read Esther all over again, and it feels like I'm reading a novel, which in a way could be.
Really
But here's why I love her.
Hmm.
Esther did not wake up to be a queen.
Yeah.
Her mother did not say, hey, you're going to be a queen. I am obviously adding to this, but whatever preparation she got prior to going to the palace did not say, hey, you're going to be a queen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But Esther was very obedient when Mordecai said, let's do this. And, there were like so many other maidens that were trying to win the favor of the king. Mm-hmm. But Esther did what she had to. She was very consistent. I don't know what the practice was in the days, but I'm gonna think she was braiding her hair. Or she was she was
She's getting her hair did, yes.
yeah, she was getting her feet soaked. um, you know, all this she was preparing for leadership by being consistent in the little things. So that made me just go, this is somebody that wasn't born into royalty and eventually was elevated to royalty by just being obedient and by doing the things that were meant for her and interceding for her people.
Yes.
Because when there was a decree, that would hurt her family, hurt her uncle.
Yes.
She was very brave. She prayed and she sought the favor of the king. So even when we're not ready, this is the lesson. Even when we're not ready, we're powerful.
Yes.
Even when we feel that we aren't favored, even when we don't see the favor, we don't feel the favor, we're still powerful.
Yes.
We can still move minds and we can still move hearts. And when I read about Esther and how she eventually became a queen, it just humbles me and says, you know what? I'm that person who's spending all this time in obscurity, doing the minute things, the little things, but I know that I will be in front of kings one day. And I will be in front of someone who's going to elevate me beyond what my, what my upbringing, calls for.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Going from, let's say you were in a town, being a first lady of a country.
Right.
That's huge.
Absolutely.
That's huge. And then being ready to step into power when it's ready and recognizing where there's a need. Esther recognized a need. Her people were going to die. She had to be ready, even though she wasn't ready. So that's another lesson. You got to be ready, even if you're not ready. You don't have to have the PowerPoint all figured out. That's not the point. The point is someone wants to hear from you. So that's my woman in a nutshell.
I love it also because for me it was a lot of confirmation, because last week I actually did a live on my Facebook page about imposter syndrome, and I turned it into a blog on Sunday and all of that
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
I watched that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And so as you were speaking, that's actually what was going on in my head. That's why I reacted the way I did when you said that we're not always kind of prepared for success. And actually sometimes, especially when God gives us a dream, it just feels so beyond us. And just Esther could have very easily, and she did, when Mordecai was like, go see the king, she was like, you do realize I could die, right? That's my paraphrase. Okay?
Yep.
But she, as you know, said the whole, if I perish, I perish, and she did it anyway. And she, not that she wasn't scared. It's not like she didn't think that, my gosh, am I worthy to even do this? Why me? Blah, blah, blah. The fact is she felt the call and she did it anyway. And that's what I really got from what you were saying. And that's why I say it's such huge confirmation, because with her imposter syndrome and everything like that, it's so easy to go, oh, but I'm still working a 9-to-5 and I'm trying to build this business and I'm in this in-between place and, oh, it doesn't feel quite right. But, but that's what we need to do. Like you said, like Esther, we just need to go forward and charge with it. I love it. Yes. And if you had to kind of, I guess, finish the sentence, what would you say, or how would you finish this sentence? So, I am a Christian woman who is.
I am a Christian woman who is empowered by faith to reach people for God by uncovering the giftings that He has put in them.
Ooh, boom! Mic drop. Literally. Love it. And if you had to reverse that, so I am a Christian woman who is not.
I am a Christian woman who is not deterred by failures, by restraints, by, from society
Mm.
and my own limitations from
Mm.
not trusting his will.
Yes, that's huge. I love that you included like your own limitations. I feel like sometimes we're our own biggest enemies.
Oh my God.
Honestly, honestly. So yeah, so true. And do you have any kind of final words of encouragement, and also in and amongst that, let people know where they can find you, how can they keep in touch? If you've got a free gift, let us know. Over to you.
Okay. My parting words would be trust your divine assignment, even if it feels like it's not flashy, it's not what people want you to do. You don't feel like you're gonna be accepted,
Mm,
but it's yours for a reason. That means it's your thing to do.
mhm,
And when people hear that thing from you, lives are going to be changed, businesses are going to be changed, families are going to be um, renewed. So, whatever it is that your gift is,
mhm.
trust it and don't lust after somebody else's.
That's huge. Yes.
Yeah. So, that's my parting gift to you. And I'm actually working on an ultimate guide called How to Figure Out What People Want to Buy and Offer It. And it's not ready yet. But this guide is for anybody who has a service to render and knows that they have an audience out there. So you might be a writer, an entrepreneur, a coach, a photographer who wants to teach other people how to learn photography, anything. If you want to run an online based service business,
Mhm.
I have an ultimate guide for you to do that. And I'm still working on it. And
Mhm.
I'm going to take you through how to, you know, build an audience, like get an audience,
Mm,
define your audience, I should say, define your audience, attract your clients, identify what to offer,
mm,
assess their knowledge that they
mm,
currently have, because that's
mm,
huge. If
mm.
someone doesn't know how to Photoshop, you can't teach them advanced editing skills,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So assess their knowledge, and then you can now write your sales page and open shop.
Mm.
So I'm going to take you through that process because that's what I do with my clients. I'm actually going to put it in writing
Amazing.
and it's going to be ready. Now, how can you get your hands on it? I'm
Mhm.
glad
That
you
was going
asked.
to be my next question. It's not ready, but how do we find out when it is?
Yes. You can go to margaretolat.com/community.
Amazing.
And when you do that, you can just enter your information. And as soon as it's ready, I will get it to you for free. Now, this is going to be like a huge guide. You're probably going to want to download it in a PDF and read it and go over and over it. But I am convinced that it will bless you
I love it.
and you will get a lot of insight from it and it would empower you to go start your thing. So
Mm.
that's it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so, so much. I really enjoyed speaking to you. I think you dropped so many truth bombs, so many kind of words of wisdom. I cannot thank you enough, seriously.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I loved doing this.
Oh, yay! Great. So, okay, we're gonna say goodbye, and I'm gonna stop recording
Bye.
now. How amazing was that interview? Now, if you are just as blown away as I was by all of Margaret's wisdom and pearls of wisdom, then definitely feel free to like and to share. I say it every week, sharing is caring. And so if freely you have received, then freely you should give. I would also really love to hear what your biggest takeaways and aha moments were. So feel free also to share those in the comments. And as I always say, I'm extremely interactive, so I will come back and reply so we can keep this conversation going. And if you'd like to know, I guess, a bit more in terms of, the interviews I've done in the past, if you'd like to be kind of kept abreast of all the ones that are coming up, as well as some of the solo things that I tend to share as well, then definitely feel free to kind of but also subscribe to the channel as well. And don't forget to hit the bell so that you can be notified of when it is that I next post, which, like I said, tends to be weekly, if not once, then twice a week. Okay, so until then, my love, you take care, and we'll be back in contact again soon. Bye.